Hi, hello, welcome back. This is me, Devraj, and today we're going to continue with our series, very long-running series of different bioenergetic postures. I think we're somewhere up to about posture 70, 71, something like that. I need to look it up when I finish making this video. But today we're going to focus a bit on the diaphragm and look at a great stretch that you can use to open up your diaphragm area. Now, your diaphragm is this big kind of bell-shaped muscle right underneath your rib cage. And it's actually super important when we consider the body as a kind of energy device. Because if your diaphragm is locked solid, then it will tend to give you this kind of north-south appearance. That's an old term we used to use, but basically means someone who's kind of their pelvis and their legs are on one track, but their upper body is sort of on a different track altogether. There's a split, there's a lock energetically in their body around this area. And this kind of rigidity in the diaphragmatic area happens because our mind wants to control our sexual energy. It's very scared of the amount of energy we have inside, and whether it'll interfere with how we're perceived, the kind of person what we want to project out into the world. And so it locks off the diaphragm, so we can't really feel or access our energy from down here. And then we have a sense of being more in control of our personality, but at the same time life is kind of dull. And of course, over time, as we always see in bioenergetics and Reichian work, this repression becomes armoured into the muscle groups, in this case the diaphragm, and then even if we suddenly want to change, we have an intuition, hey, I'm really blocked in my diaphragm, or I really want to be able to access all my energy. We can't do it so easily because the muscle involved has become locked, it's become armoured, it's become structured in a certain way. Now, when we look at breathing, human breathing from an energetic level, we're really focusing on three areas of the trunk of the body, and they are the chest, the intercostal muscles around here, the diaphragm, what we've just spoken about, and the belly, the abdominals, and particularly the lower abdominals here. And ideally, when we breathe, if we really want to be in our power and in our body, then all three of these muscles are involved in breathing. They all stretch out to inhale, and they all relax back to exhale. But because of locks, blocks, social control, and all of this kind of thing, trauma, conditioning, it is rarely the case that many human beings use all of these muscles just to breathe with naturally. A lot of us are breathing still with our throat muscles, keeping ourselves in fight or flight. Maybe we're using our intercostals a little bit, but we've also got kind of trapezoids involved and the pecs and all of these kind of muscles. All these muscles that shouldn't really be involved in breathing except, when we need a lot of energy. Okay, so let's look at how this diaphragm stretch goes. I'm just going to step back. Now, this is a stretch you may have seen before if you're into the gym or yoga and stuff like that. But if you have seen it before, it's important to approach it with a fresh mind because we're going to be doing it the bioenergetic way. And that means the focus is not just on the stretch, but also on really feeling the body and breathing whilst we're doing it. Many people who come from a background of yoga and certain gym workouts, they focus very strongly on the position or the movement they're meant to be doing, which of course is part of it. But in bio, we also need to really focus on the sense of our body and on our breathing. 1/3 of our attention should ideally be going to each of those. Okay, let's take a look at it. It's often called the side bend. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to stand with my feet about shoulder width apart. Outsides of my feet are roughly parallel, nice grounded stance, and my knees slightly bent. So if I wanted to, I could kind of bob up and down like this. And then to start with, I'm going to take my left arm right up and stretch it over my head and start to lean to the right. Trying to keep my body fairly straight. That means not allowing my pelvis to come back or to come forward, and ideally not my head to come back or forwards. Trying to keep myself in alignment. So I'm just going to lean like this. Then start to breathe using my belly and chest muscles gently. Very gently deepening this stretch with each out-breath. After about a minute or so, I relax and slowly come back up. Don't be in a rush to come back up. You don't want to pull a muscle. And then I'm going to do the other side. So right arm is up. I'm leaning to the left. Trying to keep my body straight, just correcting myself a little bit there. Focusing on the stretch, focusing on the sense of my body. Feeling this muscle here stretching. And again, I'm doing a little bit quick, but it should be about a minute on each side, and really feel those muscles. Just to complete, I can have a little shake. Vertical shaking is natural Kundalini shaking, as we used to call it. And that's my diaphragm stretch. I recommend to do this exercise like daily if you're busy with your diaphragm and concerned that it's overly locked. It will help to open it up, and then if you also practice belly breathing, you will notice that more energy is coming into your body. Okay, cool. So do check out my website, bioenergetics.org.uk. If you're interested in going deeper with these techniques, I've got online courses. And also I've got 4 books on Amazon now. Each of one is packed with useful information about body-based therapy, Reichian therapy and bioenergetics. My name's Devraj, and thank you for tuning in.